Everyone, Christian here, and this was sort of an unexpected vlog, but I happened to find quite an interesting palmetto amongst hundreds here, juvenile palmettos on top of, or I should say underneath adult plants. There's some juveniles here, and you can see actually the little volunteers kind of coming up all along this created ditch. It's been around for a while, but palmettos never say die, so you can mow them down and they'll just kind of grow right up. But over here, between this golf course here and the road that you can hear behind me, is a variegated palmetto. And I've been driving through this area, driving by this plant probably almost a year now, and I never noticed it. And I think that there was some brush in the way, and you can see that looks like there's some kind of mulching that went on. And so maybe I didn't notice it then. You can see that they actually kind of tried to top off a Serenoa. That's actually a saw palmetto there with about 4 or 5 feet of wood. And yeah, so this palmetto has is obviously, it's variegated. You can see at first I thought it was just this leaf, and it looked like it was a little bit just like discolored from being out of the sun. But then you can see on all the other fronds, it's mostly in the costa palmate part and on the petiole. So we can try and get a little bit closer here. I'm actually just going to try and zoom in because it is kind of like a little bit muddy, and it rained here a little while ago. But you can see there, it has the variegated petiole there. It has the variegated, inside of the frond, the middle of the frond, which is the costa palmate part, right where it splits. And, let's actually get a little bit closer here. I'm just going to walk through it because why not? What's the worst that could happen? I get attacked by raccoons or gators. But you can see it actually has cool variegation. It has, green bases, and they turn yellow, and some revert back to green, but most of the back sides are all yellow here. And sometimes, if you get really lucky, the bracts on the flower bracts will actually be variegated as well. So I'm curious to see how this will turn out. It looks like it's just started to trunk. It probably won't put out a flower space for a while because it's in some shade. Maybe in a couple years. So unfortunately it's not, let me zoom back out here. And unfortunately it's not a mature palmetto, but time will kind of tell. You can see how many volunteers come up. So out of, millions of plants, this one shows up and happens to be saved by the fact that it was growing in this is sort of an easement here. You can see there's the road, then a ditch, then what I assume is like a power line easement between the property here and this golf course community. And so yeah, it's actually a very lucky plant because many palmettos get slated for just total destruction, or they'll dig them out and a lot of them don't survive. So yeah, this one's actually doing pretty well. It's pretty healthy. For usually the variegated palmettos are not very beefy, and this one's no exception. It's pretty much the same as other variegated ones. It's not going to have the fattest trunk. It's not going to grow as fast because there's not as much chlorophyll, but still very interesting nonetheless. I mean, it's fun to find these. I probably have found a few dozen just in the Venice area by just kind of like, looking closely. There's actually one about 2 miles up the road that I found by accident as well. And just kind of through like road clearing, you just kind of find them. So there's probably more than you would think, but again, only like 3% of these come true to, 3% of the seed come true, and then only maybe like 1 out of 100 might start growing up. And even then you're looking at 10 or 20 out of 1,000 that are gonna grow beyond a seedling stage. A lot of them die off because their chlorophyll is just not the lack of chlorophyll is just not able to hold them or keep them going, I should say. But my attention goes over to this Serenoa. You can see here it's quite an old palm. This is pretty typical of Serenoa. It has a procumbent trunk, so it kind of grows along the ground for a little while and kind of creates this curve going up. They rarely, they don't honestly rarely, but they more often grow at a curve and are procumbent than they are just straight up. They tend to, when they grow in clumps, they're, the ones in the middle will grow straight up, but most of the ones on the side, which the majority of them will grow on the side. And this one actually has been decapitated, and it has regrown a new growth point there, if you can see that. So it doesn't look nearly as, I mean, it's kind of interesting that it has like a dwarf leaf. This leaf should be much wider. Looks like they killed off all of the Serenoa here, except for this one palm. It's kind of weird. I don't really know why they would do that. Oh, there's some over there, but you can see how big the leaflets are in those palms, which aren't, the trunks are not nearly as big. And then you can see these. So it's obviously stunted. It's never going to quite be the same, but at the same time, it looks very cool. I mean, it's unfortunate that they had to, you know, affect it like this. But you can see other palms that were cut down. There's a palmetto finally falling apart there. And this is mostly just Brazilian pepper, unfortunately. That's not Brazilian pepper, but there's they cut down a lot of it, which was good. You can tell that, you know, there was a lot of plants that were cut. You can see this mulch is relatively new. You can see this, whatever was there. That might be pepper. No, actually, I don't think so. But you can see all these little volunteers here. These are actually probably Serenoa. No, they have no spines on them. So these are all palmetto volunteers. I mean, literally just little tufts in the ground. If you guys can tell the difference here, this is kind of interesting. So you have, this is gonna, actually I don't think that is it. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. But, you know, these are getting mowed down by like massive chopping blades. So this one's like, nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and regrow, you know. And as is this one. I thought this was a Serenoa at first because the leaves are more split out, but it's not. It doesn't have the characteristics of a saw palmetto. So, but anyway, back to the variegated palmetto. Actually, there's another dead trunk of a Serenoa there. And there's probably many other in here, but you know, the variegated one there, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna check up on the seed status of it, you know, maybe a year or two. But you know, each one's gonna be different. Some are striped, some are blotchy, some are a mixture of both. Usually the striped one's more desirable, but this one's pretty cool. If it has like an even blotching on it, then that's also interesting, or it's on one side but not the other. If it's just kind of, the ones that are extremely variegated, actually, in my opinion, are not as desirable because they are harder to grow, they burn up in the sun, and they tend to just, you know, die off. So anyway, yeah, if you guys have any more questions about variegated palmettos or other variegated plants, you know, leave them down below. Hope you enjoyed the vlog. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new. And yeah, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I will see everyone next time.